So now we're talking about shapes, right? And what you're going to notice, be it 40 years old or whatever age you guys are, is there's like logos sort of distilled down into about 6 shapes. You know, if you look at these things as these things come across, those are the bedrock of like cellular tissue and like even nature sometimes, right? But when you look at logos and you look at things that are just sort of pleasing in that small space, it's funny that worked in 1960 with the Masters, right? So if you go look at Saul Bass and my favorites, and yet you take, say, 8 of my logos, and here they are, right? And you take 8 of my logos, you're going to notice there's a symmetry. You know, there's a certain like sort of ubiquitous, utilitarian sort of shape and size to these guys because it works here as much as it works, you know, on my phone or something, right? Quick note on symmetry. You know, I don't want that to like be too foreboding where you have to think that way. But if you look at logos, some of the most pleasing ones usually are pretty symmetrical, right? There's just something about that. If you go look at some of the masters, the Paul Rands and stuff, you'll see that. Now, it might not be perfect, but just the overall visual feel will have that sort of sense of like, could work this big and this big. It's not competing. If you think of like what a peacock looks like, and how the hell do you put a big old peacock in this little shape? It's going to be all over the place, right? Feathers and plumes and shit. But if you take that little beautiful little piece of feather and that little egg part, you know, from the plume or whatever, that is your logo. That still says peacock, you know? And that's kind of the thinking here is like, what are these shapes that are pleasing that work everywhere for every kind of culture, every kind of eye, you know? So now you've got this little piece. We've got our little laurels that we've built. So let's go and grab a little piece. Let's go grab a shape. These are some very general shapes I found from a little set. But you know, you can go grab your shape, so we'll make that our shape. Okay, so we grab this little shape, and we're gonna give it a quick outline here, you know? So we'll just flip that thing around. I'm gonna go lay a couple of these little boxes here, and just to show you how to do it, here's a couple tricks. You can use this guy. See how you have this thing selected? It'll tell you where the centers are. See the little center of the X? There's the center, but the optical is sort of weird. Anyway, we're close, okay? Pull it out like this. Here's a quick trick. Take this guy, because what we want is we want that shape to be isolated. We want that shape to be isolated. Here's a way to do it. Command C, Command F, and don't worry about dragging it too far or too, there you go. Now you've got that piece and that piece. Now you can go flip these back around so you can see what they feel like, right? But what's nice now, that little teeny point, if we go all the way in on that little teeny, and you go up to, you know, 10,000, you know, percent, all the way, we're at 6,400% to get in there. That math is perfect right there. And I don't know how, you know, how tight we can go, but that math is perfect because it is very tricky unless you're just doing it in a way like you have shit snapping and stuff. Mine snaps. But if you don't snap, you're never going to get it right. And if you zoom into 100 scrillion percent, it's always just going to be a little bit of this. We don't want that because somewhere you're going to see it. It's going to print weird. It's going to read weird. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, all right, you drag those little guys out to that corner. Now all we want in there is we just want those nice little pieces right here. So here's how you grab those. Command C. We don't want to use that one. We want to keep that one because we want that shape for later on. And we say, okay, Command C, Command F. Give it a weird color. That helps me because it reminds me of what I'm messing with. Because if I drag that thing off there, you can still see your originals back there. Now go grab these little guys. Path find, divide them. Ungroup it all. Deselect and deselect. Get rid of all the other chaff. And there you go. You've got those shapes, right? Okay, so now that we've got our little shield or your little shape as a way to hold some pieces, you know, let's go find a little sprig. Remember we built that little laurel. So here we are, we're grabbing some laurel. Copy that guy, go back to where we were. You know, and just kind of put that next to these things, right? So now we're just assembling these little shapes, right? You know, and that thing is pretty cool there. But, you know, what if we want it to be off a little bit? You know, I don't know. You know, and then you just go and quickly reflect it, copy it, grab one, bring it over here, you know, and you've got, all right, some stuff is starting to kind of come together. Now, in your research, you know, and you go look, you see all these little banners, man. Like, look at that little banner right there, right? You know, well, we need to build that banner. Like, let's go put a little banner on our thing. And don't overthink it. But here's the thing is, like, just start by building the shapes, right? Simple, simple shapes. Here is a little shape. Give it a nice outline. Let's try to mimic that outline up there, right? Because we want those all to feel like the same later on. And now simply by taking this little guy and saying Command C, Command F, which is Command cut and then placed on top, you just duped one on top of it, pull one off to the side. Okay, we're cool. Now throw that to the back, color it all white. Grab it again, because you're just using that little edge now. Command C, Command F. Pull it to the top. Pull that little guy out. And there he is, somewhere right there. I mean, you got to, use your math. There's a lot of ways to get to that. Put it to the back. And now you can kind of see quickly that we're starting to build our own little banner. Go around those edges so that thing feels a little better. Now quickly just grab this other little guy. Reflect it, copy it, bring that to the end here, and now you've got a little banner. But we want that thing to kind of sit up on this thing, dupe it, remember? Option, drag, makes an extra, makes an extra one. Group it. Now bring it up and lay it on this thing, and now, you know what? That's kind of cool straight like that, but I want mine to have a little bit of an arc. So go up into your effects, go to your warp, go to your arc, and warp that thing. Oh man, see, okay, 32, that's pretty good. Let's try 25. Get your little preview on. That's looking pretty good. I mean, remember, if you go ape shit and you go all the way, it'll just go right around that circle, okay? But it keeps your geometry intact. It still looks pretty good. So let's just go back to that nice 30%, whatever. And there you go, man. Now we got a banner. Now if you want it white, keep it white. If you want that thing, okay, remember, these are just nice, these are those simple shapes just told to be bent, right, or whatever, warped. You got to go expand them so you've got the real pieces. So you expand that appearance. Now those are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And if you want a white one, keep a white one. Cool. But now you've got the parts and the pieces. You've got this chunk, which has just been told to go warp. And then you've got, your actual expanded pieces. And you can say, I want a white one. I'm going to flip it. And I want a black one over that thing. I mean, whatever you want. And you can quickly kind of see like, oh man, this stuff's coming together. We've got little nests and little places for icons and for little, I don't know, pieces of type and stuff. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we've built some sprigs of laurel. What's this thing need, man? It needs it needs something. It needs a little pierogi, right? So let's go build a pierogi.